Hello, this is Stephen Tillett, author of the new book, Stop Falling For The Okeydoke, How the Lie of Race Continues to Undermine Our Country. And I'm speaking to you this afternoon out of a sense of concern for our republic. Many of you are asking out of great concern, what the heck is going on? How did we get here? And how can we get out? In two words, it's the Electoral College. The Electoral College, that gift from slavery that keeps on giving from the late 1700s into the 21st century. As a result of the Electoral College, we are in the midst of the mess that we currently are in. And some of you might not understand why we even have an Electoral College. Let me help to clarify that for you. In chapter 6 of my book, entitled or subtitled, Two Wings, Same Bird, it reads, Constitutional architect and slave owner James Madison himself stated these words about the creation of an electoral college. There was one difficulty of a serious nature, however, attending to an immediate choice by the people. The right of suffrage was much more divisive in the North rather than the Southern states, and the latter could have no influence in the election on the score of Negroes. The substitution of electors obviated this difficulty and seemed on the whole to be liable to the fewest objections. In a nutshell, we got stuck with the Electoral College in the latter portion of the 1700s as a compromise as a result of America's birth defect of slavery. I hardly think we still need to be saddled by that slavery-era institution in the 21st century. Now, there's some who will try to argue, well, it's in the Constitution can't be changed, it's chiseled in stone, it's sacrosanct. No, it's not. When the Constitution was originally written, there were 10 amendments. Now there are 27. The Constitution has been effectively changed 17 times. And since it's been changed 17 times, clearly everything is not chiseled in stone because changes have been made. 12 of those changes, in fact, 12 of those amendments were intended to repair or correct some oversight or error in the original construction of the Constitution, or something that time had passed, or that they had learned better and knew that it needed to be done in a better way. So no one should be able to say, well, we can't do it because it's in the Constitution, it can't be changed. It's been changed 17 times. It can certainly be changed again if it's in the best interest of our republic. And this is certainly in the best interest of our republic. Now, the Electoral College was intended to be you heard in part that he would rather have had an immediate choice by the people, meaning we vote, one person, one vote, and whoever gets the plurality or majority of the votes wins. But because of slavery, they created this institution. We do not need it any longer. Now, in the history of our country, there have been 5 elections where the person who got the most votes, who received the most votes, either a plurality or majority, did not get the keys to the White House. In 1824, John Quincy Adams did not win a plurality. Andrew Jackson did, but there were 4 candidates in the race, and the 2 candidates who received lesser votes still together got 26% of the votes. The House of Representatives made the choice. John Quincy Adams got the keys to the White House. No harm, no foul. Andrew Jackson will probably quibble with that, but he won 2 terms after that. So I think he turned out okay. And all 4 of the candidates who were running were members of the Democratic Republican Party. There was just that one party, so it wasn't a question of one party versus another. 1876, Rutherford B. Hayes got the keys. Samuel Tilden not only won, but had a majority of the votes, had a cushion, a victory margin of 200,000 votes, which in that era was pretty significant. And yet, because of the quote-unquote Hayes-Tilden compromise, where Hayes agreed to remove the Northern troops from the South and effectively end Reconstruction and launch us on a course of almost 100 years of domestic terrorism by the Ku Klux Klan, voter suppression, etc. Clearly, that did not turn out well. 1888, Benjamin Harrison, Grover Cleveland, who was an incumbent, got more votes. Harrison got the keys, in part because of a beef over tariffs. But again, no harm, no foul. The last 2 times, George W. Bush versus Al Gore won by over 500,000 votes. George W. Bush got the keys. What happened as a result of that? I don't know. How about the fact that we invaded a country that didn't attack us? that over 4,000 Americans lost their lives, over 100,000 Iraqis lost their lives, over 20 to 30,000 Americans are going to be dealing with severe injuries, traumatic brain injuries, etc. for the rest of their lives. And then there's the fact that George and Dick crashed the economy. So clearly that didn't turn out too well. And then the election of 2016, Hillary Rodham Clinton got 2.8 million votes more than Donald Trump. But because of this holdover from this gift, this slavery's gift of the 21st century, this gift that keeps on giving, in spite of having earned the third highest total of votes in presidential election history, 65 million votes, she did not get the keys, and now we're in the midst of the mess that we currently enjoy today. So, what do we need to do? Get rid of the Electoral College. Some would argue, well, that means that one state or two or three states will have all of the influence. Nothing could be farther from the truth. Let's look at the largest states. Let's look at California. If you are a Democrat and Republican running against each other, a Republican gets 49.9% of the votes. The Democrat has 50.1%. He or she gets all the electoral votes, all 55. That's not democracy. That's not even representative democracy. 55 to 0, and you had 51.1 to 50.1 and 49.9. That doesn't add up any way you slice it. So for that reason, Republicans probably just shouldn't bother to vote in California. Democrats shouldn't bother to vote in Texas or Alabama or Mississippi. Republicans shouldn't bother to vote in North Carolina. That is not democracy. And so we need to get rid of the Electoral College. It was originally intended to be kind of a safety valve. In addition to this slavery era compromise, a safety valve that if the people elected somebody who was unfit for the office, the electors who were supposed to care more about party than country, more about country than party, would make the correction. Clearly that didn't happen in 2016, and it's time for it to end. Finally, a thought from one of our founders. In a letter to Jonathan Jackson in 1780, John Adams, one of the founders of our nation and our second president, shared his concerns about a political system limited to two parties. He wrote, "There is nothing which I dread so much as the division of the republic into two great parties, each arranged under its leader and concerting measures in opposition to each other. This, in my humble apprehension, is to be dreaded as the greatest political evil under our Constitution." Folks, two wings, same bird. This party thing, as it drives the Electoral College against the best interest of the people, has got to end. The Electoral College must go. Over and out.